Hey everybody, thank you all a lot for being here. When I look out at a lot of you guys, the animated crowd in the front row, I definitely see myself in y'all's shoes maybe 10 to 12 years ago. And at that time, I was definitely a much different person than who I am today. Head wasn't on straight, I wasn't doing too much productive stuff, and I wasn't hanging out with the right crowd, but from following my heart and my intuition and not being afraid to try new things, I've really turned that around. So right now, I'm 27. I found photography. First time I picked up a camera when I was 20. And after a first little bit of it, I was really apprehensive to try it as a career because I finally had something I really connected with, and I didn't want to lose it to it being a job. So eventually, I gave into a small intuition to at least try it out, push myself and see where it went. So I started work as a commercial photographer, working for organizations, companies, whatever could help me fill my pockets, and I stumbled upon photojournalism, which is obviously where I am today. But at the time, I was really unsure of my future in photojournalism because it's a pretty unstable career, the market's not in the best place, and I didn't want to be digging myself in a hole. But I applied to Western Kentucky, I got in, and on the same week, I had a contract sitting on my table from the Los Angeles Rams. And this was a job for me where I could stay around my friends and family, I could be comfortable. Honestly, I don't like football at all, but regardless of that, it was a good opportunity. But I left it on the table, and I came to WKU without ever being in the state of Kentucky, without ever knowing someone here. But my heart was telling me this was the right thing to do. And 3 years removed from that decision, I couldn't be happier with what I've been able to do in this time. I feel like I've really grown as a person, as a photographer, and I've really expanded on my skills. So outside of that, though, photojournalism has really enabled me to meet some amazing people and have some wonderful experiences. So I want to share some of that with you on this presentation. So my first thing I love about it is being able to document things I love and care about. I'm not just a photographer, and my interests expand far beyond it. So I love the outdoors. It's had a really positive impact on my life. And through this work, I was able to document this girl, Jocelyn, and her first time going on a hike out in the wilderness. So Jocelyn has her fair share of mental issues, and she's visually impaired. But with these machines you can see on the left and volunteers, she was able to go experience her first hike. And for me to be able to be there with her on that was really special and really sentimental. So another thing for me is I'm an avid rock climber, and that's probably what I love doing more than anything. But I got to meet this woman named Caroline, and she's a Paralympic rock climber. So though normally she's bound to a wheelchair, she gets to get out of her chair and climb walls as high as she can go. And I love that sentiment of she's not limited by whatever shortcomings people may perceive that she has. So getting to work alongside people like that has been truly impactful for me, and it makes my job just not mundane. I don't have the same thing going on every day. I don't wake up with the same commute to the same office at the same desk. It's always like a new adventure. So something I really love about it. The other thing I love is just people I've met that have absolutely no interests in common with me, but once I talk to them, I can totally see different sentiments. So this woman's name is Amanda, and when she graduated college, she had no plans of being a puppeteer, but her love for children and care for them helped her end up at Kentucky Kids on the Block, where she uses puppets to talk to kids about hard to talk about subjects like child abuse, neglect, bullying, and that whole philosophy is rooted in that it's easier for children to talk to children about problems than it is to talk to adults. So this next woman, or girl, and the first person I ever photographed in Kentucky, her name is Shelby Matthews. And Shelby was born with a rare form of epilepsy called Dravet syndrome. And along with other forms of epilepsy, she has a lot of seizures, and it led to a lot of developmental delays. So even though Shelby is about the same age as a lot of you guys are in the crowd, her mother still has to feed her, take care of her, and do all the things that a parent would do for a baby. So Shelby's condition has led for her to have very, very many near-death experiences. She's had to be airlifted out of her home numerous times, and because of the seizures that I mentioned before. So the studies have shown that medicinal marijuana could really benefit people like Shelby because it has anticonvulsant properties. So when she has a seizure, she can take these marijuana pills, and it'll help her system calm down to where she doesn't need to be airlifted 45 minutes to a hospital to get care. And my dad went through lung cancer, and I was able to provide him with medical marijuana, and it completely changed his quality of life 180. And I really wanted to do a story on the benefits of it for people who you might not expect. So that's where I got to meet Shelby and her family from. And then this last guy in the single, his name's Wesley. And before I get into Wesley's story, I just wanted to reiterate that photojournalism has helped me understand that no matter what I do, there's a room full of people right in front of me who's also doing amazing, beautiful, interesting things. I can't take a photo I think is interesting without one of you guys doing something that I think is interesting. So that's why I wanted to shed some light on some of the people I've met along the way. But Wesley has always had trouble making it through a full year of school. He has an acute form of autism, and loud environments are really hard for him to deal with. But he loves playing the tuba. He loves playing brass instruments. And so Wesley is currently trying to make it through his first year of high school, and because he wants to be on the band. So he's using his love for music to kind of push himself, and I think that sort of speaks to what we all can do. I'm not here to try to tell you all to be photographers or videographers or anything. I want you guys to find something that really speaks to your heart, something that you can do every single day, and it's always fun. It's always a good time, and regardless of if that's something that your parents or your friends or even yourself seem like, oh, this is going to be a lucrative idea, this is going to be a good idea, if it feels good in your heart, I think you should follow it, just like Wesley's doing. So, like I mentioned before, there's a lot of instability that comes with this job choice, and that's something that always really affected me. And I'd have a lot of talks with a good friend of mine named Arthur Cook, and he is another photographer, but Arthur didn't really see eye to eye with me on a lot of these things. He was of the mindset that we should all do what makes us feel most alive, what we love doing, with the people we love doing. So when I would tell Arthur, hey, I'm worried about X, Y, and Z bill or whatever, he was just like, you should do what you love and figure that stuff out along with it. And last November, me and my friends and his family, we lost Arthur, and in a way that none of us really expected to happen. And since then, I've really made it a purpose of mine to embody that spirit that he had and really live every day like it's like you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And for me, that means doing what I love to do and not being afraid of what other people think of it, whether it's my close family or my dad asking me, what are you doing after you graduate? And my answer is, I have no idea. But it happens, it's part of life. But as long as you follow your heart and have a path and you work hard on it, you're going to be all right. And so, like I said, after losing Arthur, I really wanted to try to embody that within myself. And these next photos are just kind of photos I've taken along the way that you guys can look at. But I think it's really hard to kind of do that sometimes. I've had experiences where I question myself, where I'm being questioned by my friends and family, and it's hard to really find that inner strength to push forward and push on with something that you might not have a lot of confidence in. But I wouldn't let that stop you, and I wouldn't let that worry you, because you guys are all really young, and you're clearly doing something right to be in the position you're in right now. So keep following whatever intuition it is that is leading you on a path, and don't stop until you feel like you should move on to another direction. I've spent most of my career as a practicing photographer, but in the last year I've realized that videography is really my passion and really what I think is a more comprehensive form of storytelling. So that's what I plan on moving into in the future. And though I'm scared and apprehensive because I've spent the last 5 years making a photo portfolio, I believe in myself, and I believe that this decision will lead me down a path to happiness overall. So, I guess I thought I had one more. But yeah, thank you all for being here, and thank you all for listening. I appreciate it, and hope to see you at the other events.